about it.
Our own mind has to be changed. We have to change our mind about ourselves.
In what way?
A knowledge of self. If we could be cured of our slave mentality that was indoctrinated into us during slavery, we would realize that just as the white man can do these things for himself and his kind, we can get together in unity and harmony and do the same thing for ourselves and our kind.
Think about it.
Welcome to another episode of Blueprint for Black Power podcast. I am your host, Brother Dre. Along with me, you have my co-host, Brother Rashad Sekou, and my brother Tazamak Zariah. How you guys doing today?
What's going on?
Well,
Good. All right, so today, on today's episode, we are going over the typology of power. Last week, we covered what is power. We talked about why power is important and why Black people as a whole should not be afraid of power, why it is very important for them to become familiar with power, because the European has been using all different types of power against us, for a very, very long time, and most Black Americans are unaware of it. So we covered that in the first chapter, and we're going to cover a little more in the first episode, and we're going to cover a little more of that today, where we talk about the typology of power, some of the different types of power that are used against us, or the different forms of power, both in a positive way and also a negative way. So we're going to cover that today, and let's get into it. So starting off, I know Rashad, you wanted to share something. I think you wanted to lead the way on this one. Is that correct?
yeah, I just want to read a little part when we talk about the typology of power.
Uh-huh.
And right here in Brother Amos Wilson's book, it says, the ability to impose on others against their will or outside of their awareness. And I think that's very critical, because when we're talking about outside, imposing power outside of our awareness,
Right.
that makes a lot of sense, because when you talk about forceful power, you're being beaten over the head or you're being forced to do something.
Mm-hmm.
But right now we're under control and it's not to our awareness. And that's what makes it challenging to go against or attack the power that is going against us.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're not aware that we're being under control, then how can we go against it?
There's no incentive to even want to resist or fight, because you're like, resist what? This is the way things should be. You're comfortable, in other words, you know what I mean? You're complacent. And
Yes.
that's part of the system itself, is to keep people, people don't have to necessarily be free. They just have to feel free, and there's a difference between the two. You know what I'm saying? So if you can give people certain comforts and pleasures or what have you, and keep them in that blind state of mind, you can manipulate them and use them for whatever you need them to do, to be your little worker bees. And, that's basically how, society works. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not trying to sound like a 5% or anything, but that's where you can see where they'll say 85%, of our people, deaf, dumb, and blind.
Uh-huh.
Because you're distracted by all these different things in life. You don't have the mindset to even reflect on the type of enslavement you're being put in. So, you know what I mean? You got to come out of that state of mind right there. You have to understand that these are distractions. These aren't made to help you. These are against you.
Exactly.
While the real plan's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Keep everybody occupied and out the way.
It's a typology of power. It's a way of controlling you.
Exactly. And if you go down to the next to the last paragraph on page 8, which starts off with instances.
Yeah.
If you read that,
if
you read that last sentence, the capacity to affect the conduct of individuals through the real or threatened use of rewards and punishments. That's critical, because again, we think we either fear we're going to be punished, or even better, they reward us with all these things. And it's about these things that are getting power over these trinkets, the cars, the jewelry, the clothes. All those things are holding power over us because we see the advertisements that say, you must have this car, you must have this house, you must have this diamond necklace, you must have this whatever. So all these little trinkets are getting power over us.
I was going to say
with that rewards also. I mean, I like everything you said right there pertaining to, you know, all materialism, but even be more than that. The way you can, the rewards of being able to go to some of the best schools, to buy and live in certain areas, you know, things of that nature to give you a power over others that are under you, that seem to be under you. You see what I'm saying? You look like the limelight.
Yeah,
and everyone else under you is, you know what I'm saying, oh man, I got to get to where, you know, where Tazamak is. Look how you can say, because but really, which power structure am I really taking care of? My own Black community, or because I went to an Ivy League school, got some of the best education, now I work for this particular corporation? Who did I benefit for?
Right.
The power structure, white power structure, however way you want to put it.
And when you think about it,
I looked at that as rewards.
Right.
Even my family looked at it as it was rewards. Oh, I'm proud of you. You know what I mean? You're doing so great for you and your family. And I take that with pride. However, it's a punishment because as time went on, I helped the power structure, the white power structure, benefit for them and theirs, while my own was depleting.
Exactly.
Hurting, not gaining anything. Still in control, being controlled by what? This typology of power.
And when you think about it too, that's what the monetary system is all about. It's the life and blood of the reward system itself. That's why you have the money. It's not really for the rich and the powerful. The ones that create the money don't need the money. You know what I mean? The money is for us so that we can use. They use that as the, you know, that's what moves this system of punishment and reward. You know, when you fall in line with the system, you do everything that you're supposed to do. You go to college, you get programmed, you fall into corporate America, you play your role, you get the rewards. You know, if you don't play the role, if you go against that, you usually do not get rewarded for that. You know what I mean? So they're kind of using the money as a system of reward and punishment. And the less money you have, you're usually frowned upon. Oh, this person didn't work as hard as I did. This person wasn't smart as I am. This person didn't have the willpower that I had. So, you know, it's a system of punishment in that regards too, where it's seen as a negative if you're not wealthy. You know what I mean? You're looked down upon for that, you know. And people that have money are often looked up to. You know, it's why we always want to follow celebrities, and it's almost like people worship the wealthy, you know. And that's how the system is designed, to kind of make you dream after this. And they dangle the carrot in front of you, but they're always rationing out just a little, just enough to keep you chasing. But again, that's a part of that reward and punishment system that he's talking about. That's how they control you. They can, you know, but the money itself is the blood, you know, and that's why, again, you got to question the system. You know, as we talked about before, Black people in America don't stop to question the system itself. Everybody's getting caught up in like politics. You should vote or you should not vote, or maybe you should be Republican, but no one questions the system itself. Who's to say that any of that is what we should be doing? You know what I mean? You got to begin to question the system. Why don't we have our own monetary system? Why don't we have our own money? You got to question the system itself, you know? And that's when you start to see effective change. But yeah, that's how they control you. The rewards and the punishments, it's all right there, you know?
However, sorry, brother, but however, once again, everything you said on that, I mean, that just goes to show how this large majority of us fall into that 85% being of the deaf, dumb, blind.
Absolutely.
However, all that it does play a part in, you know what I'm saying, all the trinkets and everything, and seeing the rewards. But at the same time, it does reflect back to not wanting to take real responsibility.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
don't mind being controlled. You
Absolutely.
don't mind being controlled.
And that's how they,
You don't want
again,
responsibility.
and that's all there in the system where you have to, they take care of you so much. You got your groceries, you don't have to, that's a big, again, controlling the food supply is so important.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Where you're like, everything is taken care of for you. You know, all you have to do is worry about going to work when you think about it. You don't have to grow your own food. You don't have to worry about knowing anything about medicines no, we'll take care of all that for you. We got hospitals, we got grocery stores, we got restaurants.
Got education.
We got education.
Come on.
Why waste time schooling your children? Give them to us.
Right.
We'll condition them, we'll raise them, we'll make them just like you.
So my question to you is, especially Brother Dre, because you talked about the monetary system and people that are frowned upon when they don't have as much money. So that goes back to the original thing that we were taught even before we started this book, and we've heard it 1,000 times, to divide and conquer. Right. Because again, if we got brothers and sisters that look down on the poor brothers and sisters, then that still keeps us divided. So we're still not able to use our power from a 40 million strong point of view, because we're looking at somebody as a brother or sister that doesn't have as much money as us. So we don't want to join with them because they didn't work as hard as I did. So again, that's even tricky when they use the monetary system against us, because again, we look at that brother because he only makes $20,000 a year, and the brother that makes $100,000 a year is better. You know, so it's just very tricky again to the mind to keep us divided because of the monetary system. That's what I'm asking.
It's tricky because that's what capitalism is. It's all about individualism. Now that is capitalism is not about working together. It's about individualism, divide and conquer. You know what I mean? Conquer your competition. Don't work, you know what I mean? Figure out what your competition is doing and then do it better. That's all capitalism. So that's
McDonald's
how we're raised.
Burger King, and Burger King ain't helping McDonald's.
Exactly.
Coke ain't helping Pepsi, and Pepsi ain't helping Coke.
Right. You know, because everybody has to think about their own wealth and how are they going to be the king of the hill. You know what I mean? And they're worried about anybody else trying to come up and take that position. You know, that's capitalism. So you're trained, you're conditioned to just think as an individual and look down on everybody else when you do get a little higher than everybody else. And you're right. We gotta figure out how do you get from that mindset and begin rethinking the way the monetary system should be done. You know, that everybody just automatically accepts that capitalism is the way that things should be, but maybe it isn't. And that's when we need to come together and start thinking of different ways to, you know what I mean? You know, I don't want to digress too far, but you know,
absolutely,
that's where it begins.
I mean, for a person like myself, it's easy enough for me to comprehend a lot of this, just like you brothers are, your conscious brothers. You know, because if you look at the pattern of history, it's all there and shows you that. I mean, for the last 400 years, I mean, honestly, that you've been considered menial. Why? Having nothing. Why? I mean, no gains. Other nationalities have made their way to this countries and have made gains. And here we are. We haven't made any gains. That there are so many. How I should put that is that there's been so many loopholes thrown in us, and the way we've never come together on any of it, to where they've been able to make this history of, we've been completely lazy and menial and tried not to do anything for ourselves or for our people. No, but at the end of the day, you know, like I was saying, they went up there and threw millions of monkey wrenches in the game to subdue us to this state that we're in right now. Exactly.
But and again, it's all tying in. That's all power. That's all different displays, different, as we're talking about now, typologies of power, you know, different types of power. What I do like about too, what Amos Wilson does is he explains the difference between power to versus power over. You know what I mean? Power to meaning, you know, there's nothing wrong with having power to, the power to, you know, create different effects and changes within your own life or the lives of others in ways that are healthy and good, you know, that's a healthy and positive display of power, you know,
Right.
power too. You know, even when it refers to effects that you may have, again, on not just yourself, but on a whole group or on the world as a whole in a positive way, you know, power too, you know, but it can work both ways. You can also use that power to affect change in a negative way, as we see happening, like take, for example, business and factories. Yeah, you have the power to, you know, produce all these products or what have you, but you're also putting smog and things like that in the air, and you're hurting the planet in a negative way. So you have to kind of be attentive of how you use your power to make sure that, you know what I mean, that again, capitalism is all about greed at all costs. So you don't think about the consequences long term and how you're hurting yourself, how you're hurting the earth, what have you. It's just all about gimme. You got to be, you know what I mean? The power too means you got to use it in the right way. But now power over is talking about controlling somebody. It's talking about being manipulative. You know what I mean? Controlling somebody's environment, as we've been talking about. You know what I'm saying? That I thought was kind of deep when he went over just kind of contrasting the differences between power over is really usually used in a very, very negative way versus power two can be either or. Right. In other words.
You know, when I looked at it myself, when I seen power two, I mean, to me, I took that as, you know, I have the ability, I have the power to fight back against my oppressor.
Absolutely.
Whereas to power over, I looked at as controlling me, you know, my oppressor controlling over me.
Yeah.
You know, the large state of us, the majority of us, all of us are in that position as the power over right now in this USA of America.
And we don't realize it. And that's the thing. It's very clever.
Once again, and I always use it. I just never use it in this video, but it's me saying we're all slaves.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. You mentioned some celebrities earlier, regardless of them or down to me. And believe me, I'm of the low, but I'm just putting it out there. You know, we're all slaves.
Exactly.
You see how this power structure has us all as slaves. I mean, if I don't really own anything and you don't really own anything, then what does that make us doing all this damn work? What do we own?
Right.
Okay, then you're a slave.
Yeah.
And you're not aware of it. I know there's a lot of people that be mad at that statement. I get it. I truly 100% get it. Who wants to be called a slave? Who wants to, oh, how dare you? You know what I'm saying? No, I fought for my freedom, I vote. And I get it. I 100% get it. But if, like I said, you know, if you understand history and understand how menial they have kept us from the last 400 years, you know, we still have nothing to say that what we've owned in the year 1619 to what we own today in the year 2021, absolutely nothing.
Right.
Absolutely nothing.
Hey,
absolutely nothing. No power structure in any type of way. I'm sorry.
If you're not a slave,
education, your education, it is controlled. Where you live and what you eat, how you buy it, it is controlled. Okay, until you understand this, your whole money system, the whole banking system, your money is controlled. Everything is controlled. Until you have a community or people that says this is among us. When you know we're somewhere when you see their stock market crash and we're still doing okay. Why is it that when the stock market crash, we automatically know when unemployment, you know what I'm saying, hits, we know that, okay, well, white people are going to get hit, but we know black people are going to get the worst. So everybody even knows that. You can be stupid. You could have dropped out of school in the 6th grade and you still know that the black population is going to be at the lowest of the unemployment rate. We all know that.
That's it.
So having that in mind, okay, that just shows you slavery.
Okay.
And Brother Taz, you are absolutely right, because what you're talking about when you say everything is controlled, the beauty of the power structure against us is that we think we need that order from them to be able to do things. We don't think we can control it ourselves. And that's the thing. A lot of people, like you've talked about, don't want the responsibility. So when they say, well, you know what, we will allow you to grow your own food, people say, well, I don't really want to do that.
Exactly.
They'll say, you know what, you can start your own business and go and get your own resources. And then people say, well, how do I do that? So again, we're in this place of being between a rock and a hard place, because they're saying, okay, if you want to do that, you can do that, but I don't think you'll have much success with that. We don't have any confidence in ourselves. And Brother Amos Wilson gets into that in this book about the confidence that we lack because we won't take charge of trying to get some power. So we just want to be controlled. It's almost like we want to be controlled.
Well, we do. I mean, that is
that just exactly. You want you want a job. You don't want to own the company. To own the company, you have the responsibility of everything that goes on with this company. If you have a job, you have a certain type of responsibility. This is what I deal with, and that is it.
Yep.
What you want.
From time and time,
you want your 40 hours or more hours a week to be controlled, and this is what you get for it.
Right. Time and time again, we will always see that people will give up freedom for convenience.
Yes.
We always do. We always give up freedom for convenience.
Yes.
Even now, like when you download an app and they ask all those permissions, can you give up your access to your camera? We want access to your friends. We want access to everything. Right. Yes, because you want the convenience of having that joy of whatever that app is or whatever it's going to do. We do it all the time. You know what I mean? So, and I mean, it's a psychological ploy, but they understand that and they just play those strings on us all the time. And that's the fact that Amos Wilson saw that clearly, you know what I mean? And he just breaks it down so well. You know, I mean, he's a very educated individual, and we understand that he does kind of speak on a collegiate level, but if you take the time to really just dissect what the brother is saying, he's breaking it all down for you and letting you know this is psychological warfare. You know what I mean? You got to understand the game that's being played on your mind, because that's the only way that you can escape it and begin to say, wait a minute, we got to stop and do things this way, because if we keep doing things the other way, you're forever blind. You know, there's no escape. You'll forever be a slave. And as we talked about last week, that's going to be to your eventual demise, because that's the ultimate goal for, we know, the oppressor is to annihilate you. You know what I mean? So,
like it says in the last paragraph on page 8, right there, starting where Brother Amos wrote about power over. Right. He defined it as characterize the primary power relationship between whites and blacks. As such, it is essentially define the character of white supremacy related to black subordination. Right there, when you read that, that is letting you know that this is a prime definition of what real racism is. And how this systematic white supremacy is produced and distributed among black folks all day.
Exactly. You know,
that's where it says this prime definition of what real racism is. That's me speaking. That wasn't Brother Amos.
No, we got you. I mean, but it is what it is. It is true. And that is the power relationship that the white man has over Black America, and will make sure that they maintain. They'll do everything in their power to make sure that they keep that power relationship between us.
Absolutely.
Everything. So.
Absolutely. So, you know.
And I thought somebody else wanted to close out on that last paragraph.
Well, you kind of already have brought that last paragraph out. But at the top, you brought up the top, but the which I was going to do. However, the very last part of that, yes, I still want to touch on that, where it is saying, where let me start. I'll read that from. Oh, we should briefly define certain types of forms of power and their relevance to white racist domination and exploitation of Blacks to the necessity of Blacks to develop the power to end such domination and exploitation,
Right.
showing you that that can be used as a benefit for ourselves as long as we learn to break away from these chains.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That you can, we can develop, we can learn from this and develop from this on being able to set ourselves free of being a power over to a power to.
Exactly. And that is the key. And again, as he had stated in the previous section, not being afraid of power, you know, because you're going to need it in order to free yourself, like you're saying, Thomas. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely. So I believe that about wraps it up for this episode. Did anybody have any closing comments that they wanted to say?
No, I'm good, brother.
No, I'm good.
All right. Oh, also too, I did want to mention, because I did fail to mention, that if by any chance you do not have the book, we do have an audio version of this section being read. I attached that to the link below, so feel free to go ahead and check that out. And we will be joining you next week with our next topic, our next episode, which is going to be Force as Power. We're going to start to get into talking about a specific type of power that has been used on, really the European has used this on the entire world, but specifically on the Black community. But we definitely are going to get into that, and it's going to be very, very good topic. So we hope to see you. And until then, stay Black, race first.
I just want to say that I love all my Black people. I don't care what we do. I know we caught up in things, and I'm there to help us. So us brothers here help us to just learn ourselves, learn thyself. Remember that.
Absolutely.
And I just want to know, let you all know that I love you, and I love all my Black people out there. I love you. Always remember that. I love you.
Absolutely. Same here. I love all my Black people too, including this one, because I said, does anybody have any comments? And he said no. And then afterwards,
it just came to me, man. It just came to me.
But I love him anyway. I love him just like he loves all y'all.
Because I was just feeling so good about my people right now that I just wanted to say I love them, man. Just want to make sure they know that I love y'all.
I got you. Till next time.
It is.
Peace.
Our own mind has to be changed. We have to change our mind about ourselves. In what way? A knowledge of self.